Hello, and welcome to today's podcast, Trends, Innovation and Business Models. My today's guest is Anand Tamboli. Anand is an entrepreneur, an award-winning author, global speaker, futurist, and highly sought-after thought leader. He works with organizations that wants to transform into a sustainable brand with creative and innovative employees. Anand specializes in areas that intersect with technology and people. Welcome, Anand.
Thanks, Michael. Happy to be here.
Yeah. And I know you're creativity, innovation, entrepreneurship, and transformation specialist, and you're very well known for bringing ideas and strategies to life. But probably you can describe a little more in detail what you're about, what your personal company, your personal purpose is, and let's start with that.
Since my childhood, I have lived in constrained environment, and so all I had at that point in time was ideas. So I had more ideas than I could execute, and more, or even the resource. And I think that theme continues all the way through my life. Even today's situation, the lockdown or COVID crisis is, I don't see as nothing less. It's the same thing in a different format. There are resource constraints, and there are lots of ideas to get through that.
I think most countries, they need quite young entrepreneurs. I'm living in Germany. It's a very overaged population, and countries need urgently young entrepreneurs. What can you bring or give them as an advice, what they should consider when launching their own business?
Yeah, so and before doing that, let me put some point across being age of an entrepreneur and why people prefer young entrepreneurs. And I think it's not per se that using age as a barometer. It's age is just a proxy, because there is a strong correlation between somebody being younger and more adaptable than somebody being old and they just don't want to change. But there are people who are old and still adaptable. They're good. Now, coming back to the entrepreneurs, young and adaptable entrepreneurs as such, if they want to make changes in their businesses, and I think no matter whether your business is in a nascent stage, starting, or you're in the middle of it, building valuable assets, and literally I mean assets from not just from a physical properties perspective, but assets that could be transferred and that could be utilized to maximize your income, maximize your revenue, are something that should be your objective all the time. Because when I sold my company 2-3 years ago, the valuation was ridiculously low. I didn't expect, and my company I used to run from 2009 till 2018, 9 years. You wouldn't expect that valuation to be too low, to be nothing. And the only reason, in retrospect, I can see is that's because I had very few assets to sell, right? So the balance sheet had all the things that are not considered as assets. So there was only the thing that I call IP. But besides IP, you also need to have a sales system. And by sales system, I'm not referring to CRM. I'm referring to how do you sell? What's the process? What are the artifacts someone uses to sell it? Right? How do you recruit your salesperson? What do you teach them? What do you train them on? How do you market your product? So it's a well-oiled system process. Once you have it, the value of your business goes significantly up. Each of those assets is something that should be the goal of an entrepreneur every day. I want to build assets every single day.
Yeah, I think I'm coming from sometimes from this purpose perspective. Means if you talked about distribution, sales, means you have to care about your clients, the people you want to help, it's a physical product or service, just a help for problems, for wishes, for people who are willing to pay money for that. Means therefore you have to take serious those humans you're serving, and that is an asset in itself. Your distribution force, the IP, your thoughts, your personal brand is as well an asset, but that's, I agree, very difficult to value, because if you build up your company and then you leave this company, your personal brand is with you, it's not with the company. And that more has brought you more as well to the problem zones companies are facing, not only today, I think, especially in COVID. What do you say? What are the problem zones?
Well, there are two interesting things I'm seeing. So one I see from a manufacturing and service business perspective, manufacturing companies haven't really focused much on service side of things. Good at manufacturing a product, but after sales service, or they don't see the product as a service. Whereas service companies, they want to get into product. So they want to package their service as a product. So there's an interesting overlap that product company want to build on service and service company wants to build on product. We're seeing this overlap, and what happens when you see this overlap is new business models emerge, new ideas come through. So something that you have always seen as a product now becomes a service. Taxi, for instance, or car, it was a product. It is still a product for many, but it's also a service. And right, so when with COVID crisis, more things are happening, more such things are happening. On top of that, now the second thing comes in is how customers and clients see things. So they have noticed that the discretionary spending, the money, if they have to prioritize today, the expenses, a lot of things that as a business we would have taken for granted are now not their priority, because people are seeing that, okay, this is not essential, this is priority, this is not priority. What do I need to do minimum to stay afloat? Right? So lots of products and services that were more like a luxury or more like good to have are seeing that problem. So the businesses need to focus or shift their product perspective on being essential. How do you make your product essential rather than just good to have? Because if it is good to have, if I don't have money, I'm not going to buy it. I'm not going to get that service.
And I agree there completely. But just if you look at the car industry, means look, everybody is doing service for a fee. Now the cars starting the same. That you don't have to buy a car. Okay, a couple of years you did a lease or whatever, but still you have high money invested in those stupid cars which are parking only 20 hours a day, and you're probably driving 4 hours a day, if at all. But you're starting to do this fee business, like Volvo starts it, Tesla, everybody is more or less trying to get in this pay by use. That's, I think the world is turning to that. That brings together those two aspects you have. You don't have to spend much money on things which are not very, very necessary. And you're not reliable for property you have to maintain. As well, this cradle to cradle approach. If you know that, I mean, it's just if you build a fridge, you should lease it to the user, and if it's broken, you give another one and take the old back and take the spare parts as a producer out of it.
And we are already seeing that with mobile phones. We're already seeing that with mobile phones, isn't it? Every year, you can give your phone back, get some cash back, get the new phone. So we do that in a small, but that's as a consumer, that's as a customer. But as a business, if you want to see it, now your product, your service needs to be able to cater to that demand, able to cater to that. Like, I can't have a product. I say, okay, now I'm changing my product from selling to pay per use. I need to build that infrastructure. I need to innovate my business model. I need to innovate my business practices to be ready for that, and now is the good time.
Absolutely. Yeah. And what do you think? Why does corporate purpose come what's the corporate purpose about that? Means, is it the thing you're doing, or is it the thing for whom you're doing it?
So a purpose is something that has been another buzzword that's getting traction these days. Is your
Yeah.
company needs to be purpose driven. You should be purpose driven. What's your purpose? What's your
Shared value.
why and why? And so the question comes as fine. What's your purpose? Is that a corporate social responsibility that you do? Is that what you stand for? What it is exactly? And unless we know what that is, people keep twisting and turning it the way they like, and then just say that, okay, this is my purpose and this is my mission and vision and all that thing. It starts to get mixed up. I mean, to put it simply, if I say that, starts your sentence saying that what I want to do, and then continue the sentence. It would be easier if you start a sentence saying what I want to do is, and then continue. So if you say what I want to do is make more money, well, that doesn't sound like a good purpose. If you say what I want to do is help people become self-sufficient, could be a good one. What I want to do is help people get more nutrition, or help people get from place A to place B, or something like that. You're going closer to your purpose, like what you stand for, what are you fighting for, what's your goal that doesn't appear and that doesn't have to appear in your corporate annual statements. Purpose, right? If it has to be reported, then it's not a purpose really. Purpose is much bigger. You can't achieve your purpose, I mean, so to speak. It's a long, lifelong thing. Now, why do you want to have that purpose? Like, why people are saying you need to be purpose driven and all that, all of a sudden, like COVID crisis definitely has triggered that point a lot. Mainly because people are seeing that the life as we know it, or things that we see, materialistic things that we saw as important, are not really important. The economy, the way it is changing, we think that it's not important. So what is important? What are we fighting for? And how does it help, even in communication? If you ask me, how does it help having a good purpose, a strong purpose? Well, it helps you bind, it helps you keep number of stakeholders together, right? If I don't have a purpose, then my reporting to, say, shareholders is all on money based. What's the return, where the company is going, and all that. I'm all talking about money. When I'm talking with customer, I'm talking all about the customer problems. And I'm talking with investors, I'm talking all about different things. When I'm talking with PR in a PR mode, I'm talking about a brand and reputation and whatnot. But when I have a clear purpose, I can talk with the purpose with all of them. I don't need to talk
agree.
with investors.
I agree completely. I mean, it's about shared values. It's another buzzword, but it's built on values, what you want to achieve together as an investor, as an employee, as a supplier, as a management, the public. If you don't really have a shared value to, let's really phrase it this way, do something positive for the world, or at least for a large number of people, it's very difficult to sell what you want to do. I mean, why it is like this probably. I think investors don't like if it's not scalable, because you don't have lots of people who like what you're doing. Because that's one thing. The public as well doesn't like if you waste or destroy the environment whatsoever, and so on. Therefore, I agree completely. It's about stakeholders. You can talk about to stakeholders in a very easy way, understandable way.
So think of the purpose as a super glue of a certain kind, which binds the plastic, metal, and wood and everything together, which otherwise is not possible.
Yeah. And what would you say? How can companies define their purpose? I mean, it's easy to say I have a purpose. I want to For example, I want to make 1 million entrepreneurs within my lifetime because I like to coach them and to make them successful. It could be a purpose, could be a vision statement or whatever. But how can you define a company's purpose? Is it something only management has to do, or how does it work?
I think one of the key area when you want to define a purpose, and even if it's a running organization, getting people along, having their perspective always helps. That if you have employees, ask them, what do you think we are doing really? Like someone will say that, okay, we manufacture widgets, certain kinds of widgets. Then you ask further that, okay, yeah, that's fine, but what actually we are really trying to do here? Right? Well, we are trying to manufacture and sell those widgets so that people can do certain things. Yeah, but exactly what are we trying to do by helping them do certain things? Well, we're trying to make their life better, but exactly what are we trying to do by making their life better? So when we ask that, exactly what are we trying to do, exactly what are we trying to do with those answers, much like 5 why analysis, if you have heard, right? Why? But this is what exactly are we doing? What exactly are we doing? It's just another way to bring that out. And then we say, okay, we're trying to help them, but exactly what are we trying to do? Well, we're trying to give them control over their life. One of the things. But that might be your purpose. So if you go those 5 questions, 6 questions down the line, saying that, hey, what we really do is give you a better control on your life, or better control on your expenses or your financials, and we stand for it. So our purpose is to give people that financial freedom or something like that, right? So what do we? So earlier when I said that, then if you try to put that in a sentence, that what we want to do is give you financial freedom. This sounds like a reasonable, good purpose. Right?
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
then the sentence makes sense.
Yeah, I wrote a book. It's called Create Future Today, and I call this mantra. Just a quick, simple phrase, 8 words, to say what you want to really kind of achieve, where it's tending for, in a very simple phrase.
Right.
And you're right, you can't report it in annual reports. It's not a mission statement, because mission statement, most companies know that, because it's just written on paper. Nobody is really doing it. Yeah? Like the big vision is sometimes only made in the management tower, and people are not behind it, who have to do the jobs and to fulfill the strategies. And it comes, to my knowledge, always back to the same. You have to involve all stakeholders in defining your strategy, your vision, why, based on which values you're doing something as well. I mean, you need feedback cycles. You have to get everybody behind what you are doing. And the purpose, more or less, is this kind of energy, this battery, which makes you every day running for that vision or this objective, this big one.
With that strong purpose, your last mile employee, the person who is on maybe your foot soldier, the last person, when they attach with your purpose, they can do their job more effectively than just giving them a job description.
A purpose is much better, because then everybody knows what to do, from apprenticeship up to top management. It's much easier to be part of a mission to get to your vision, if you like.
And a lot of startup companies, small companies, you would see are quite good at it. So their job description don't look like a canned papers of a JDs or PDs. They start with saying, hey, we are on a journey to do this. If you have got the skills, join us. So it's like they state their purpose, they state what their requirement is, and then they make an appeal that if you really align with our purpose and you have got the skills, then come and join.
Exactly, and that makes it much more interesting for people, really, because you can participate in something evolving. You can
Yeah.
bring in your fingerprint instead of these old job specs where just were saying you have to be from 8 to 5 or from 9 to 5 and have to put one thing from A to B. And that's one of the biggest challenges, especially the old economy has to solve. You know? They're coming from this way of thinking as well, this old management. Most of them are not able to say, I don't know, because they don't rely in teamwork. They only rely in law and order. And we have a problem. Here's the strategy. Here's the, exactly. Coming back, because we're in COVID time at the moment, and COVID is a pandemic, which was expected more or less. It's nothing new. The only thing, nobody was really prepared for that, except probably lots of Asian countries were better prepared than the typical Western countries like Europe or United States, or especially Brazil. What are the opportunities in the current COVID crisis? It's a typical saying, in crisis there lay chances. But how do you see that, Anand?
Well, we are seeing quite a different take country to country, but overall, those who are entrepreneurial in nature, they see opportunities. Mm-hmm. They see that, all right, if this is happening, what do I see here? What is not happening? So you ask him a question that, okay, if this is happening, what else is not happening? What are the things people want now? What are the areas which people have neglected earlier and now I can contribute now? For instance, any new product or service opportunity now you give can be taken in different light. We talked about being essential, right? Having essential services. If you go out and say that, look, we have a luxury product, that's not going to work well, because that's not the priority anymore. But if we really listen to customers as to what are they struggling with now, and one of the things we've noticed that, say take an example, for number of people, they're struggling with their video conferences and video chats now, right? People, lot of people haven't done this before. They don't, they're not comfortable doing this, but they have to do it, so they need help. So can someone do something so that you provide them help in this regard? There was no such industry in the past, but this is one opportunity. There are other such opportunities as to how do you provide them something without going out of the home, if you're in a lockdown or if you're working from home, and if your daily routine has changed significantly. So as we start seeing those things as to what are the constraints, what is not happening that used to happen before, and how do I replace that? So I'll give you another example. People used to go out every day, and so they had a little bit of a workout. Now people are not going out every day, sometimes, or maybe not at all. So they are not doing workout, majority of them. So what can I do to replace the benefits of workout at home? Can I think about it? And once you start thinking about it, I'm sure people who think thoroughly in a disciplined manner will come up with some idea. So it's just asking right question, looking at what has changed and what hasn't changed. So your being at home has changed, but your workout requirements haven't changed. So when we start asking these questions in depth, I think there would be a number of opportunities, and trying those opportunities is again a low cost thing right now. You don't have to invest too much.
You have just to think about it. I agree completely, and I'm coming from my 4-tier CAN model. What it is about is about how you can utilize trends and external expected events, and how you can use them. You have always to analyze what is the impact of external events like a trend on behavior, on the wishes, on the hopes, on the problems of the daily task of people. And if you understand that, you can come up with a solution for those problems, or how you can fulfill those wishes. Yeah, and you're right. With COVID, you stay home, but you need your daily workout, or monthly or weekly, whatever workout. You need communication. Human being is a social being. You need probably it's better in video conferencing is better than just a phone conference, and so on. And you come up with quite easy solution without spending much money, only by thinking. And we can build around there your value proposition. And then the next step, you can come back to your business model, how you can put it in your existing business model, or you have to adapt your business model. But that's the whole process. And I agree completely there. COVID in itself doesn't have chances. It's a trigger. And it was an expected trigger to come. When you look at Bill Gates, he told us 10 years ago, as one of those known people.
We have had a number of pandemics in the past, right? We have a number of pandemics every 10 years or so. So we kind of know that something happens every 10th year.
Exactly. And as a hospital, if you're not prepared because you don't have enough masks for a pandemic, it's critical. Then the health system is you have to rethink about it as a country as well. Anand, the time is flying. What as a last word to the audience? Can you give us almost 3 or 2 advices small companies can do or should do? Digitization is probably a buzzword, but what should they do in a current time, using this time with a lockdown?
So, yeah, I mean, I can think of a couple of things. In terms of small companies utilizing this time, what can I do differently? How can I change my business model? How can I change my team structure? How do I change my operating method? How do I change my product or service? How can I do something differently? And you have lots of time to think and experiment on it. Because I'm quite sure we have seen that the supplies have reduced, the market demand has reduced significantly. So you have a lot of time at hand and the capacity at hand to experiment. And quite frankly, when we are at the rock bottom, there is nothing to lose. The only way is up.
Yeah,
so
it's an asymmetric environment. It's like I'm coming from credit. You have no opportunity upwards. You have only downwards. But at the moment, if you rock bottom, it can only go up. You're right.
Exactly.
Thank you, Anand. Thank you very much for this fascinating and really fast side views in how you tackle COVID and what SMEs and where the typical problems in SMEs lying. Thank you for that, Anand.
Thanks, Michael. My pleasure.